All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition, the second to last edition of A Round for the Weekend. As always, we are brought to you by BellyUpSports.com. I'm your host, Ryan McCarthy. I'm sporting the Edmonton Elks logo. They announced last week that they were going to have Tagalong's joining. Okay. They're going to have a rebranding of the name from the Edmonton Eskimos. Oh, my goodness, buddy. What are you doing? Tagalong's joining in the stream, apparently. They rebranded from the Edmonton Eskimos. They're trying to figure out ways to reach out to the Inuit community, although I think there were other reasons why they rebranded, but that's my opinion. They announced last week the name, the Edmonton Elks. I bought the shirt. I thought the logo was really, really cool. So I went and bought the shirt. So, excuse me for a moment. My cat's looking to eat, I think, because he's on the top of my dresser. On top of my desk, doing some stuff. So we're going to get to the episode in just a moment. But first, it was asking me, what you drinking, Ryan? I'm drinking cold brew again. And the reason why I'm drinking cold brew again is because I worked out this morning and I stopped at my local coffee shop to get myself some cold brew and a sandwich. I always do that after I lift heavy. Starting to get back into the gym, starting to get back into the swing of things and the fitness side. Excuse me one moment. Sorry about that, folks. Tag along has really bad timing. All right, but as I was saying, I typically lift pretty heavy on starting to get back into weight, starting to get back to fitness. My journey's been kind of slow and steady, but it's okay. Slow and steady always wins the race. So after I work out, typically go to, especially on Saturday mornings, I go to a local bagel shop right down the road from where I work out, get myself what's called a lumberjack, which is bacon, egg, and sausage with a little bit drizzle of maple syrup. They add cheese, but I don't get cheese on mine. I'm not a big fan of cheese on my sandwiches. Unpopular opinion. Speaking of unpopular opinions, but on a toasted sesame bagel. So that fills me up pretty quick after a workout. After lifting heavy, I got some cold brew because I like coffee in the morning. A good cup of coffee in the morning. So right now I'm drinking cold brew. Next week will be the final installment of this iteration of Around for the Weekend. And a couple of episodes back, I explained the reason was why I wasn't going to have the live stream edition portion of it. A lot of it had to do with carrying two brands with no credentials required, which is my podcast and this. It's just tough to carry two brands consistently. So I'm moving this iteration, the streaming, to no credentials required. We're going to do a Friday night edition at 7:30, talk about national sports. So speaking of national sports, we're going to do some unpopular sports opinions. And let me show you a quick tweet that I wrote up on my Around for the Weekend page. This meme's been going around, and I kind of want to get people's opinions. So let me go ahead and share that tab with you here. So SpongeBob SquarePants is Patrick. SpongeBob SquarePants, great memes. what's a sports opinion that will have you like this? And it's Patrick shackled up, shackled up in front of a crowd. Apparently, he's just meh, whatever. So I tried to elicit some responses on this, and my opinion was that the mid 90s to early 2000s New Jersey Devils were not boring. And the reason why I said that is because personally, I'm a New Jersey Devils fan. Full disclosure, I'm a New Jersey Devils fan. And I've had to hear this trope for a long time, saying, oh, hockey fans, whether they're casual or hardcore, I think the more casual fans have this opinion because they don't follow hockey as much as they should. But this is a common tropism amongst casual hockey fans. And they say, oh, the New Jersey Devils back in the mid 90s and early 2000s were so boring. Listen, no, they weren't. Okay. All right. So let me backtrack a little bit. The mid 90s New Jersey Devils, they started finally winning when Lou Lamoriello's had grown the minor league system. They had their goaltender, they had their defenseman, who they got in a trade with St. Louis, and they wound up swindling them for more picks after that because of tampering. Actually, it wasn't a trade with the St. Louis Blues. It was they traded him. Scott Stevens was traded from the Washington Capitals to New Jersey. I guess St. Louis tried to tamper and sign him on a free agent deal, but there was some tampering that went on. The Lou Lamoriello's as a GM is probably one of the best swindler GMs in NHL history. If you're a Devils fan or now you're an Islanders fan, you kind of know the story. If you're a Maple Leafs fan, take what you will. But Scott Stevens was their big defenseman. Scott Niedermayer was paired up right next to him. All right, Kev, we'll get to yours in a second. All right, Kev. So I'll get to his in just a second. But yeah, going back to New Jersey Devils. They had a coach who could implement a system that would basically suffocate your best scorer. Trap him at the blue line. Between the blue lines is called the neutral zone trap. It had been a system that had been in place for over 100 years. If you listen to Merrick versus Wyshynski, you'll hear Jeff Merrick's take on it, and God bless him for it because I fully agree. Because again, the New Jersey Devils were not a boring team. They knew how to play defense. They had great goaltending. Martin Brodeur, greatest of all time, hands down. The 95 team, they just went on a really big run. Beat Boston in 5, beat Pittsburgh in 5. They stopped Jaromir Jagr from taking over they stopped Jaromir Jagr from taking over. They beat Philly in 6. Thank you, Claude Lemieux for that game-winning goal in Game 5. Because it would have went 7. I think Philly would have beat New Jersey, but they beat Philly in 6, and then riding that weight of momentum, they would find a way to stop the Detroit Red Wings and sweep them in 4. Probably one of the best summers of my life. As a 17-year-old, I graduated from high school. So this was my week. This was the weekend of 1995 when the Devils won the Stanley Cup. I graduated from high school that Friday, watched the Devils win the Stanley Cup on Saturday, and on Sunday was my graduation party. And my grandpa, God bless him, may God rest his soul. He brought up a bunch of newspapers from New Jersey to give to me, commemorating the Devils' win. So that was great. But here's the amazing thing about the New Jersey Devils from the mid 90s to early 2000s. They won 3 Stanley Cups. They won 3 Stanley Cups, but they did it with 3 different coaches. And 3 of these coaches had either similar styles. Although Larry Robinson, you could say, was a little bit different in that he implemented a different system where he had one big scoring line, and the rest were just depth line, and they had the defense, and they had Martin Brodeur between the pipes. Pat Burns, similar style to Jacques Lemaire, not so much in the suffocating defensive part, but when they had the lead and they smelled blood, forget it. It was over. It was just so good. The forwards are good forward checkers. Defense was excellent. And again, Marty Brodeur in the pipes. So that was my unpopular sports opinion. I had one late from Jenny, Jenny of Ohio. I think she's part of the Craft Brewed Sports Group. She says the NBA is the worst professional sport. That's a hot take. That's a scathing take. I mean, I would kind of agree, only because I'm not. I grew up watching Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. I grew up watching that era, and that was one of the great eras in NBA, in NBA history. I mean, it brought them from PR nightmares in the 1970s to national prominence in the 1980s, because you had those great battles between the Lakers and the Celtics. You had Michael Jordan get 6 titles. You watched the Detroit Pistons and the Bad Boys, Houston Rockets with Hakeem and Clyde Drexler. I think they should have won a title with Charles Barkley. We had Charles Barkley and Scottie Pippen and Hakeem Olajuwon. But I think those cartoonish uniforms, cursed them. And then now it's like nobody plays defense. It's like to me, it just seems like a glorified YMCA game where everybody scores and nobody plays defense, and you have the big three players, and the way they circumvent the cap, and we'll get to that in just a few moments on the hockey side. They sign bench. I wouldn't say bench players, but guys who are adequate enough to make an NBA roster. Plus, you sign 3 big, well-known players to big contracts, and that's your team. That's your team right there. But I don't know. I have a lot of problems with the NBA. I won't get into it now, but there actually were a couple of NBA takes. I'll take you to them in just a second here. So we had Mike Keefe from the Garage Beers podcast. They have some really great interviews lately. If you don't take a listen to them on the Belly Up Podcast Network, Garage Beers podcast, they just had Natalie Coughlin, swoon, on their podcast a few days ago. Mike said Giannis, I believe he means Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, is at best a Pippen. He can't be Jordan. Solid opinion. It's a solid opinion. Like I said, I don't watch that much basketball anymore. I probably should, considering I need more depth sports wise. But I mean, he could. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be signing elsewhere. He's going to be wanting to get out of Milwaukee after this series with Brooklyn. Maybe he'll join the Brooklyn Nets. We'll see. But I mean, he could be a good second fiddle to somebody's Jordan. It's very possible. Very possible. And we had Kev. So getting back to Kev. Belly Up Kev. And I mean, this is a compliment. He is the spoon that stirs the pot at Belly Up Sports. And I mean that in the most loving way possible. I love Kev dearly. He's very, very opinionated. He wrote there, and he gets to this in the last episode of on Corner Booth pregame on Thursday. If you watch that, he had the opinion that Derek Jeter was the most overrated player in baseball history. Marketable, yes, absolutely marketable. Defensive, offensive numbers. I'm not nerdy enough to get into the whole metrics, sabermetrics type of stuff. I'm a Yankee fan. Just full disclosure, I'm a New York Yankees fan. Captain will always have a place in my heart, with winning 5 rings as a member of the New York Yankees, part of that core 4 that won all those titles in the late 90s, early 2000s, and 2009. But he has his opinion. I know Kev's a big Red Sox fan. He thought that Nomar Garciaparra was a better shortstop. I could believe that. He had the numbers to back it up. And then a lot of different shortstops in that era who had better offensive and defensive numbers as Derek Jeter. But I don't know, as a Yankee fan, again, he has a special place in my heart. It's just too bad he's current owner of the Miami Marlins. Personally, I think the Marlins should relocate to Montreal. That's my opinion. That's my personal opinion. I think Jeffrey Lurie did a great job of swindling the city of Miami for $600 million to build a baseball stadium that nobody goes to, and where the Orange Bowl used to be. So great job, Jeffrey Lurie. Breast in something. But he had a second opinion. He wrote, "Oh, another hot take I didn't get to tweet. Kareem has a better argument for being the GOAT than LeBron." I'm not going to say no to that. And the reason why is because Kareem was the most Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, if you know who I'm talking about here, this is going back to the 70s and 80s. He had a more dominant career. I think he had a more dominant career than LeBron. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, originally drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks, was highly regarded as the best college basketball player probably in history. At UCLA, he was recruited by John Wooden out of the streets of New York, and wound up playing at UCLA. Won a bunch of titles there. Wound up getting drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks. Was traded to the Lakers years later. I think he might have won a title with the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm not really sure. Let me double check on that. Don't quote me on that. Milwaukee Bucks. Let me do some research here. Yes, they did win in 1971. And yep, he was at that time, he was Lou Alcindor. Not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He changed his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I think, sometime in the mid-70s. He was given, and yep. Yeah, so he won a title with Milwaukee in 1971, his third year in the league, and he was traded to the Lakers, played the rest of his career in LA, won a bunch of titles with them. He was definitely the most dominant center of that era too, between him and Bill Walton. Bill Walton, though, I think he could have been, if he hadn't had all those injuries and all that bad luck with those injuries early in his career, he could probably be considered one of the great centers in NBA history. I go with Kareem, Shaq, Hakeem Olajuwon. Those are my top three right there in the pinnacle. Yeah, I just mentioned it, Kev. 71. Yeah, I just went to the research and found it. 1971 with the Bucks. But yeah, I mean, it's a good opinion. That's a solid opinion. I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar definitely ranks up there as probably top 5 NBA players of all time. I say Michael, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm trying to think of number 5 player. I can't think of another top 5 player. Probably Oscar Robertson, I guess. He played in Cincinnati. I guess they're now the Sacramento Kings. I don't know how long they'll be in Sacramento because they have an old arena, and the city of Sacramento apparently refuses to buy them a new arena. So, all right. So moving on. I had someone named Bryant, the Bama fan, say Trae Young is better than Colin Sexton. There, I said it. I don't know who Colin Sexton is. If anybody's watching, could give me an idea of who Brian Sexton is or Colin Sexton is. I presume he's a basketball player. I presume he plays for the Hawks, or he plays for the 76ers. I know they're playing each other in the playoffs right now. I'm kind of rooting a little bit for the Hawks because they have Kevin Huerter, who played at Shenandoah High School, which is my high school alma mater. Awesome. So I'm kind of rooting for him a little bit. Oh. Cavs point guard, played for Bama under Avery Johnson, 8th overall pick. Okay. All right. Thanks, Kev. Appreciate the correction. There's my research right there, Kev. He's playing my research today, apparently. But Probably because because Colin Sexton was played at Bama. That's probably why. Because Kevin is a Bama alma mater. I don't know if you ever a few episodes back. Actually, Kev actually paid me 69 cents to do an ad read for him. So I might have to do another one next week for the last show, for the final installment of Around for the Weekend. We'll see. All right. I also reached out on Instagram and on Facebook, to my personal Facebook account. If you're friends with me, you know what I mean. So I had a couple of my friends and my buddy Jeff Levac, formerly of 104.5, the team in ESPN Radio in Albany. I interned with him when he was there. He recently left the station. Now has a job at Techie's Fire Water Restoration. He wrote that was ketchup and Kurt Schilling's sock, the bloody sock of 2004. I still have nightmares of that particular playoff. Because again, I'm a Yankees fan. Full disclosure. Give credit where credit's due. But he wrote that was ketchup and Kurt Schilling's sock. I think he meant it as a joke, but he's a Yankee fan too. He could have been trying to get under the nerves of Red Sox fans. My cousin Matt. Shout out to my cousin Matt. He said J.C. James caught that ball. I believe he's referring back to the 2018 or 2017 Steelers-Patriots game where there was that controversial call that of Jesse James, the tight end from the Steelers, caught the ball. I guess he caught a pass. It went under. It looked like he fumbled or he hit the ground, and it was called incomplete. But it could have gone either way. And the Patriots actually went up winning that game. I think they went to the Super Bowl that year and won another freaking Super Bowl. So tired of that. And yeah, so and actually on Instagram on the Belly Up AFTW account. And again, you can find all our social media accounts here: Twitter at Belly Up FTW, Facebook.com Belly Up Sports AFTW, and then Around for the Weekend on YouTube, hashtag Sports Talk Happy Hour, but right now it's Lunchtime Happy Hour. Jared, who is the second half of the Corner Booth podcast, he wrote in on my Instagram account, Eagles fans are not the worst. His sports opinion that has him like Patrick in that meme. He wrote, Eagles fans are not the worst fans in football. I agree with that. I can agree with that. And the reason why I say that is because as a New York Jets fan, again, I'm disclosing my fandom. Don't get mad. As a New York Jets fan, I think some of our Jets fans are some of the worst Jets fans out there. I mean, this is 50 plus years of frustration. 50 plus years of the last Super Bowl appearance happening before probably a good 2/3 of us Jets fans being born, myself included. They went through the 70s, which were horrible years. We had a head coach walk out on the team before the end of the 1976 season. Things started to pick up in the 80s. They could have gone to the Super Bowl. They should have gone to the Super Bowl in 1986. We would have had our first New York Super Bowl ever. I think they would have beat the Broncos. They should have beaten the Browns if it weren't for Mark Gastineau. But I wouldn't say we're cursed. We're cursed per se. I always just think we're snake. I just think we just snake bit with bad ownership. Leon has finally figured out before the end of his life that he needed to pick things up in terms of signing players and developing players, and that's when he brought in he hired Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells says, I'm out of here. Try to bring up Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick saw some of the writing on the wall when they're trying to change ownership with the Johnsons. He left town, got traded to the Patriots, and you'll know how that came out. But it's just a lot of it's just frustration and bad takes and wanting to see players fail and wanting to be I don't know. We just have a lot of our fandom is just super negative. Now, Eagles fans, there's reason to hope. Your team won a Super Bowl recently. A lot of those players, those core players, came back, are still with the team. Got a new quarterback. You got Jalen Hurts. They brought in players. I mean, Howie Roseman did a decent job of building a roster for, at least in the draft. My buddy Jim Labatt. Thanks, Jim. Jets, Jets. Yeah. Another forlorn Jets fan like myself and my friend from church, Jim Labatt, chiming in. Jets, Jets. But yeah, we can get super negative about our team. I think the last 2 seasons, especially with all that stuff that happened with Adam Gase, and the stuff before with Todd Bowles, and the stuff before with Rex Ryan, at least for the first 2 seasons of the Rex Ryan era, things started to turn around until they decided to say, here, kid, go to work, to Mark Sanchez and put too much on his shoulders. And Mark Sanchez could have been a great quarterback with the Jets. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But yeah, the fact is the inability to keep a coach around and the inability to keep a good coach, a good GM, and build a good roster, especially over the last decade, has made us miserable. And here comes another hot take from Kev. Zach Wilson is going to look bad this year. Lots of picks, low completion percentage. I would ask you to go to listen to this week's Can't Wait podcast on The Athletic with Connor Hughes and Tim McMaster. They say he looks really good. Again, I'm not there. I'm hoping to make. I want to go to I don't want to go to a Jets camp this year. I want to go to a Jets camp session. I want to see what the team's going to be like this year. Hopefully, with Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh building a good roster. Zach Wilson apparently looks really, really good in OTAs. And I don't know. I'm hoping for the best. I mean, it's only his rookie campaign. I'm hoping that he can do a lot better than Sam Darnold. God bless his soul. He got a bad rap with the Jets. But we're not getting a whole lot of picks out of it. So we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, those are some of the unpopular sports opinions I've gotten from on the Twitter account and on Facebook and on Instagram. So to those who participated, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, so I think I appreciate you joining in. All right, moving on to the Stanley Cup Playoffs. They continue this weekend, and we are down to the final 4. Getting down to the nitty-gritty. Getting down to the final 4. We have Tampa playing the New York Islanders and the Vegas Golden Knights. Canada's team, shout out Rod Peterson. Canada's team playing the other Canada's team, the Montreal Canadiens. It's basically going to be Sin City versus Sin City. It's going to be the Sin City of America versus the Sin City of Canada. If you've been to Quebec, if you've been to Montreal, you know what I mean. I've personally never frequented those places, but I know people have, and it's a little seedy. I'll just put it that way. But yeah, I'm going to make some predictions here. And here's the best thing about predictions. Now, if you watched the Rough Cut, I was on the Rough Cut Sportscast a couple weeks ago. We did the big hockey show, giant hockey show with myself and a bunch of other people from Belly Up Sports from the hockey side. I think it was Kyle, Alex, and the folks from High and Wide Radio for the Philadelphia Flyers. Jim, and I can't remember his co-host's name. I feel stupid for not knowing now. But we had a good panel. We talked about the Stanley Cup playoffs. We talked about the division, the divisional finals. Picked out who we were going to have for our teams, and I picked all 4 teams correctly. I picked the Habs in 7. I picked the Canadiens in 7. They went up winning in 4. Picked the Isles in 7. Went up winning in 6. Picked the Bolts. Picked the Lightning in 6. They went up winning in 5, and I picked Vegas in 6. And guess what? They won in 6. I wish I had put some money down on that because I would have probably made out pretty well on those tickets. But now we're coming on to the final four, the semifinal round, and they're not going to take place in a bubble. There was some discussion of whether or not they could have teams travel to and from Canada, where the Canadians would be able to travel to the United States, or if other teams could go to Canada. They made some provisions with the Canadian national government, and they said, yeah, go right ahead. Be super cautious. There's some restrictions that we're going to have to do, but we can accommodate. So thankfully, there's going to be no bubble. We'll have fans in the stands in all four cities. I know Quebec is limited to, I think the Montreal Canadiens are limited to 25 fans or 2,500 fans in the Bell Center. But even so, it still gets loud in there. Vegas is at full capacity. Tampa's, I think, at 75% capacity. I think the Islanders are at 75 to 50% capacity. So I'm excited. Fans in the stands everywhere. But here are my predictions. Tampa and the Islanders. On the F and Sports podcast about a month or so ago, I did some school. I schooled the teachers, Shaka and Parker, about the Stanley Cup playoffs, what to watch out for, who think will go far. I picked Tampa to win the cup. I may have to reverse my decision on that, and I'll tell you why. I think the Islanders are going to win in 6, and here's why. The Islanders matchup. And this is a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference final between Tampa and the Islanders. I think the Islanders have so much momentum going on their side right now. All 4 lines are rolling. Defense is playing well. Goaltending. I know Varlamov and Sorokin, they have been alternating back and forth, but this is what Barry Trotz has been doing all season long. If he sees whoever's playing goal struggling, he swaps him out the next night. He'll put him in a different goalie tender in the next game. So Varlamov struggled against Pittsburgh. Trotz puts Sorokin in. Sorokin winds up winning 4 games, takes that series. Sorokin struggles in game 1 against Boston. Trotz puts in Varlamov. Varlamov wins 4 games. So if Varlamov struggles in this series, something's going to happen. But I think Barry Trotz learned some of his lessons from last year against the Lightning, and he has a long memory. It's a long memory. So I think the Islanders rolling 4 lines strong. He knows how to match up. He knows how to get matchups. He did that against Boston. He did that against Pittsburgh. He stopped their best scorers. I think it's going to happen. The same thing is going to happen this time against Tampa. Tampa's got a lot of depth. Tampa's got very good goaltending, and Andrei Vasilevsky. He's one of the Vezina trophy finalists. But and they got one of the best defensemen in the world, and Nick Hedman. But I just think the Islanders have too much momentum. They get the home crowd behind them when they play against each other. Nassau Coliseum. They want to see another cup play. They want to see another cup before the barn closes. They go over to the UBS Center in the fall. And from what I understand, that arena is looking real nice. So Nassau County is going to get themselves a jewel of an arena come October. Hopefully, if things do work out, they'll be able to put a Stanley Cup banner as the first thing in the stands. So the Islanders haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1983, and Islanders fans, they want it. They want it bad. I think the Islanders want it even more bad. They love playing in front of that crowd. So I think the Islanders will take this series in 6 games. The funny part is that I've predicted the Islanders in both the first 2 rounds. I picked them in 7 games. In both those rounds against Pittsburgh, against Boston, I picked them to win in 7. They win in 6. So I'm picking the Islanders in 6 this time. I think they have way too much going on their side. Lots of momentum. Lots of momentum going on, and I think they take it in 6. And then we can flip over to the other side, where Canada's team plays Canada's team. Cincinnati of America, Cincinnati, United States plays Cincinnati, Canada. Vegas versus Montreal. This is a really interesting series. Carey Price is playing out of his GD mind right now. He's playing probably his best hockey, his best goaltending since 2014. And I think they should have won the Stanley Cup that year too. But if it weren't for Chris Kreider crashing the goal, skates down, Kreider. They would have won the Stanley Cup that year. Carey Price versus Marc-Andre Fleury is probably the best goaltending matchup in this playoff. People saw Connor Hellebuck versus Carey Price was it? No, fam, not it. Marc-Andre Fleury versus Philip Grubauer. Nah, fam, that ain't it. Because Pierre DeBoer decided to play Robin Lehner in game 1 and got lit up for 7 goals. Fam, that ain't it. Price versus Fleury is going to be an awesome goaltender matchup. I think this series goes 7. And as much as I want it to be Montreal, I think Vegas is going to win in 7 games. And I think they have too much scoring. They play heavy on offense. They hit hard. They're a big team. They're a strong team. Montreal, they can create. They have lots of creativity on the offense now that they brought in Cole Caulfield. And as I mentioned a couple weeks ago on this show, big ups, full credit to their head coach. I can't remember his name all of a sudden. Dominic Ducharme. Full credit to him for bringing Cole Caulfield in the lineup in Game 5 against Toronto, because that turned the tide. For the Montreal Canadiens, and they've gone this spectacular run. He had the assist on the series clinching goal that Tyler Toffoli scored in Game 4 of the Winnipeg series. He's been a brilliant playmaker. Everybody's got to keep their eyes on him when he has the puck. He has the ability to make plays. That's why they drafted him in a couple of seasons ago. Played at Wisconsin, was the Hobey Baker Award winner. I've said it again and again. I know I've mentioned it over and over again, but he was the Hobey Baker Award winner for a reason. Top scorer in the country in the United States in U.S. college hockey. So that's one thing that Vegas has to watch out for. But I just think Vegas has too much going on. The travel is going to be rough because they're going coast to coast basically between Montreal and Vegas. It's going to be like a Stanley Cup final where they go back and forth. But I think the Montreal Miracle run unfortunately ends in 7 games against Vegas. We'll have ourselves a Vegas Islanders Stanley Cup final, I believe, at the end of the day. So that's my prediction. Islanders in 6 and Golden Knights in 7. We're going to talk a little baseball in just a second, but first I want to do a partner shout out for one of our partners here at Belly Up Sports, and that is SimBull. Wall Street meets sports gambling in this innovative app. SimBull brings the fun of being able to play for the long term by purchasing, selling, and trading stocks of your teams. When your teams win, you win a payout. When they lose, you don't. The value of your team's share is all that matters, and it's easy to use. Just download the SimBull app on Google Play Store and use the promo code BellyUpFantasy for a $10 deposit bonus of at least $10 or more. Join the fun of investing in your team for the long haul, where the sportsbook edge is put back in your hands as the player. For the latest and most fun in sports gambling, download SimBull, and again, use the promo code BellyUpFantasy for your $10 deposit bonus today. All right, talk some baseball. And I think you know where I'm going with this, folks. I think you know where I'm going. Yep, we're going to talk about the base running of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Poor Ke'Bryan Hayes. Poor guy. Let's go ahead and share the misery with everyone, will we?
It's this hard the other way to stay fair. It is gone and hit the pole. An opposite field home run. for Key Brian Hayes. Keep doing it.
Wow. One of the toughest pitchers in the league. Hayes takes him right down the line.
Unbelievably aggressive stage manager. What? Called a foul? He did miss first. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pirates fans. If any Pirates fans are watching, I am so sorry. All right, so let's take this through this one by one. So, Brian Hayes hits it off of Tight Pants Bueller. Yeah, I went there. And audibly, you hear it hit the right field pole. Hayes takes off. Bueller's like, "Are you kidding me?" Great stroke, by the way. I'm surprised they don't call him Willie Mays Hayes. But yeah, it hits the pole in right field. Audibly, you can hear it. Celebrating with his teammates. Hooray! Hooray! Good for us. We scored a run. Oh, wait. Out? What? What happened? And Hayes goes back. He knows it too. Watch and oh no! Goo tags. Get out of the way. Yeah, buddy, you're killing me. Sorry, folks. My cat's butt decided to make an appearance on for the weekend. Yeah, God bless him. Hey, get off the keyboard. Say hi to the camera. Say hi to the folks at home. Don't look at me. Say hi. Anyway, that's tag along, ladies and gentlemen. This is a punch in the nards. Now, I understand why I can understand why he missed first base. Because he's flying. Well, he's flying down the line. You don't have to fly down the line if you know it's a home run. I mean, I get it. You want to have some hustle. You don't know if it's going to hit the wall or if it's going to hit off the fence or the scoreboard. But audibly, you could hear it. You could hear the ball hit the right field pole. If you hear it, the ball hit the right field pole or either pole, you can slow down. Slow down. Make sure you hit the base. I mean, because I remember the 60-second home run by Mark McGwire that broke the record back in 1998. If you remember, after he hit that home run, he almost forgot to step on first. He almost forgot to step on first base, and he had to go back and get the congratulations from his first base coach. But if you audibly hear it hit the pole, I mean, if you see the replay, it hits the pole, and he's already booking for second. So you gotta fundamentals, folks. You gotta watch your base. You gotta watch your bases. You gotta make sure you hit the base. You know, poor Brian Hayes. Pittsburgh, I don't know what to say. I don't know. You had that Javi Baez. You had the Javi Baez base running incident last month. This month you get the obvious miss of the base going into first base and the run gets disallowed. Man, it sucks being a Pittsburgh Pirates fan. I bet. I should know. I asked my cousin Matt, who's a Pirates fan. He's very sad. Very sad. Anyway, folks, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Around for the Weekend. Join me here next Friday night, 7:30, closing time. We're going to have a rotating panel of, hopefully we'll have a rotating panel of guests. I've invited some folks from Belly Up to be part of it, just to kind of stop in and say hello, kind of do I wouldn't say a mega stream, but just an ending time, just to kind of close things up for around this version of Around for the Weekend. I'm going to try to do some different things with it, at least for the streaming side. They're going to have no credentials required Friday beers edition, Friday happy hour edition at 7:30, starting I think July 2nd, because 25th I got some fun going on, family stuff going on, but July 2nd, which is right before Independence Weekend, we'll do a 7:30 edition Friday, the first edition of the Friday night happy hour, Friday night beers edition of No Credentials Required. So again, find us on social media, Twitter at BellyUpAFTW, Facebook.com/BellyUpSportsAFTW, YouTube, Around for the Weekend, hashtag Sports Talk Happy Hour. Again, this has been Around for the Weekend. I'm Ryan McCarthy, your host. Get some Elks swag, or just go outside and enjoy the day. It's a beautiful day in upstate New York. Hopefully it's a beautiful day where you are. I appreciate you watching. If you watch live, thanks for watching. If you watch the replay, again, thanks for watching. Get in some of your unpopular sports opinions. Let's have some fun with this. But thanks, folks. Appreciate your time. Enjoy the day.